Mobility as a service. Well, in the last few years, the definition has kind of moved from the ground up into the air, and Bell is leading that charge. Naveed, why don't you tell us about your new developments in mobility as a service, what that means? We'll have a conversation.
Well, Bell is so excited to be back here at CES. This is our third CES, and it's another chapter in our CES story. And this year we have the Bell Nexus 4EX, which is our all-electric air taxi concept. Last year, of course, Bell unveiled the 6-ducted hybrid electric air taxi, and this just adds to the family of Nexus. And along with the Nexus, we also have the Nexus City, and we also have Bel AerOS, which is our digital platform for connected mobility. And we're also unveiling mobility as a service, which is our commitment and our vision to go above and beyond the aircraft and really solve for the physical infrastructure and the entire ecosystem that it's going to take to integrate Nexus and Apt and all of our mobility solutions into the city of the future.
Yeah, because a big challenge is the whole catchment and the whole where you're going to land these things, right? Why don't you talk to that for a moment?
Yeah, it's going to require a lot of infrastructure, and it's going to require a lot of discussions and partnerships and conversations with city leaders and state leaders and regulatory bodies about what does integration really mean? What does Airspace Authority and UTM really mean? What does airspace and traffic management really mean? And what is the integration look like for these aircraft into the urban landscape in the cities of the future? And so that's why the Nexus City here as part of this showcase is so exciting for us, because it really kicks off a conversation with municipal leaders about how mobility as a service from Bell is going to integrate into their cities.
Now, do you see it as an evolutionary process, kind of, one thing leading to another?
So it's going to have to be a journey, and that's why we're starting to have those conversations now. We talk about Nexus being in full service and in the market in the mid to late 2020s, so 2025 to 2030. That doesn't mean that the work doesn't start right now. We want to engage with city leaders, we want to engage with citizens, we want to engage with customers, we want to engage with regulatory bodies to really have this conversation of what does the policy look like, what are the different missions, what are the different use cases, what's the value that Bell can provide when it comes to air mobility.
I would imagine there's some immediate use cases for something like this, provided the economics work out, just airport to airport in an urban area, for instance.
Yeah, there are a ton of different missions that we can really explore. I think urban intra-city travel is really suited well for the all-electric Nexus 4EX. It's got a range of up to 60 miles. And then for longer ranges, we have really a propulsion agnostic system, a propulsion agnostic platform with the Nexus, where we can explore hybrid electric for more of a 150-mile range for intercity travel. And so there are a lot of really exciting use cases, a lot of really exciting value propositions that we're going to continue to explore.
Now, the one behind you, and I want to go back to the mobility as a service, but it's just got my curiosity piqued. I see a lot of space for luggage. Could you kind of give us an overview of what we're looking at back there?
Yeah, so the Bell Nexus 4EX is a 4-ducted, all-electric air taxi concept that we're going to continue to develop and refine and mature. And we expect it to be in full service between 2025 and 2030, and really coming to a city near you. And we at Bell really want to solve for the entire mobility ecosystem. And that means going above and beyond the aircraft and really looking at the physical infrastructure as well as the digital infrastructure for how these aircraft are going to integrate into the urban landscape. And so that means that we look at how physical infrastructure can be built to accommodate and integrate these platforms. That means tying into transit hubs and other aspects of daily urban life in cities. And so we really need to be smart about how we engage with city leaders and how we integrate mobility as a service overall into their cities.
And I assume you've started engaging, it actually sounds like a city around here. I assume you've started engaging with cities, and what sort of concerns are you hearing from them as far as having these things in their above their city?
Well, I think with anytime you talk about air mobility and aircraft of this magnitude at this scale, it's really going to come down to safety, reliability, and quality, which is three pillars that Bell really aspires to and really works to every single day. It's in our blood and it's in our history from 85 years of designing, manufacturing, and certifying superior vertical lift rotorcraft, and that's going to be in our DNA as we work on the next generation. And so, this immersive city is part of that opportunity to really start a conversation with city leaders, and that means understanding their pain points, understanding their concerns, which is a growing urban landscape and that means more congestion on the ground. And so what if we can take that traffic into the vertical dimension? What are some of the implications of that? We talk about the Nexus as being incredibly quiet and being able to integrate from a noise profile perspective into the regular sounds of everyday urban life. And so we are solving for those problems and those challenges in our design from the very beginning, because we've engaged with city leaders from the very beginning. We're not interested in throwing a piece of technology that's not relevant for them and asking them to integrate it into their cities.
And to be clear, it's not a George Jetson personal vehicle future. You're looking at a shared approach, right?
Sometimes it can really feel like that like it's straight out of the Jetsons, but no, we really see this as a solution for common everyday folks, not just VIPs. We want to make it cost effective. We want to make it very enticing for the commuter, for the family, for the traveler. And so we're going to continue with that mindset as we work on the platforms.
Now, on the mobility platform itself, I know you had some partnerships with some ride-sharing folks. Now, is that part of what your platform, or is it independent of it?
So we're going to continue to explore partnerships as we mature these platforms. And so we're looking for committed believers who are really buying into our vision and have a vision of their own that very much aligns with our vision and can really walk this journey with us to integrate into the city of the future.
And so from a air pollution standpoint, and I don't mean particulates, but having a bunch of vehicles in the air, visual pollution, has that come up as an issue from any of the mayors or anything like that?
Right, so I think that's a very understandable concern, and that's where I love to point out the Bel AerOS platform, which is our cloud digital platform for connected mobility. We think that digital services and the digital technologies that are going to orchestrate fleets of these vehicles and really help them integrate into the urban landscape is really going to help set the stage for the most efficient operations. That means we're not flooding the airspace in a particular city with a number of these aircraft that are just not needed. That means we're deploying and operating just the number of vehicles that we need to be efficient operations, to not have visual pollution like you said, and to make it cost effective for the consumer.
Yeah, because that's the whole idea, is you're sharing the cost over multiple consumers there, right?
Right, and there's a lot of cost models, a lot of business models that we're going to continue to explore, whether it's fee for service or ownership, but really we want to make it as cost effective as possible.
And so from a charging standpoint, when you're in an all-electric mode, can you do a fast enough charge so you can get those things back in the air?
So we're going to continue to watch how battery technology and electric propulsion technology is going to mature, and we're going to continue to take the best practices and implement that into the Nexus platform.
That makes sense. I mean, each year it's getting better. A couple years ago there were no fans. Last year there were 6 fans. Now there's 4, and an additional vehicle. So, Naveed, I congratulate you and your Bell colleagues.
Thank you very much.
And good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.